Are you being serious right now?
Yeah.
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
The next couple of years are packed with epic releases. We've got blockbuster sequels, thrilling reboots, and original stories that promise to blow our minds. So without further ado, let's jump into the best upcoming movies you won't want to miss in 2026 and 2027. 28 years later, The Bone Temple, January 16th, 2026. The rage virus is still tearing through England in 28 years later, The Bone Temple, but this time, the real danger might be the people left alive. A first look at the movie, hitting theaters January 16th, shows the franchise getting even wilder, with more brutal violence, a creepy cult leader, and a world overrun by the infected. Directed by Nia DaCosta and written by Alex Garland, it's the fourth film in the series and picks up right after Danny Boyle's 28 years later. DaCosta took over directing duties from Boyle just weeks after his film wrapped and made it clear she wanted her own stamp on the story. She describes her take as messy, personal, and hard to pin down, but still carrying that unpredictable energy the series is known for. This sequel follows Spike as he gets tangled up with Sir Jimmy Crystal and his cult of identical, velour-wearing followers known as the Jimmies. Things get even darker when they collide with Dr. Kelson and his terrifying alpha carrier, Samson. O'Connell calls the movie the weird cousin of the last film, admitting it dives into some very twisted territory. DaCosta says the film shifts styles depending on which characters we're following, from Jimmy's warped cult world to Kelson's bizarre experiments with Samson. She praises O'Connell's performance as both sinister and strangely charismatic, calling him a wonder in the role. The movie also digs into Kelson's strange bond with Samson, explores new corners of a wrecked England, and doesn't shy away from gore, though DaCosta says it's more about creating an impact than chasing shock value. Super Mario Bros. 2, April 3rd, 2026. The Super Mario Bros. Movie 2 is officially happening, arriving 3 years after the first film's massive success. Keegan-Michael Key, who voices Toad, revealed the sequel will be bigger in scope, with new characters and plenty of deep-cut references from Mario lore. The main cast is back, including Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, Jack Black, and Key, while fan favorites like Wario, Waluigi, Daisy, Rosalina, and even villains like Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings are rumored to join. The story will build on the first film's post-credits teases, with Bowser trapped in a cage and a Yoshi egg showing up in Brooklyn, hinting at both Yoshi's debut and another trip to the real world. The Mandalorian and Grogu, May 22, 2026. The Mandalorian and Grogu is directed by Jon Favreau, co-written with Dave Filoni. Originally planned as the fourth season of the hit Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, the project shifted into a feature film after production delays caused by the 2023 Hollywood strikes. Pedro Pascal returns as Din Djarin, joined by Grogu and new cast members, including Sigourney Weaver as Colonel Ward, Jeremy Allen White as Rota the Hutt, and Johnny Coyne as an Imperial warlord. The movie was filmed entirely in California between August and December 2024, with major funding support from the state's tax credit program. Fans can expect the return of familiar faces like Zeb from Rebels, appearances from the Anzellans, and a new version of the Razor Crest. Positioned as the first Star Wars movie since The Rise of Skywalker, the film is designed to carry forward the Mandalorian storyline on the big screen, potentially opening the door for more theatrical adventures instead of future TV seasons. Toy Story 5, June 19, 2026. Although Toy Story 4 seemed to close the chapter on Woody and Buzz, Pixar is bringing the gang back for Toy Story 5, with Andrew Stanton, co-writer of the original film, directing. The franchise, which began in 1995 as Pixar's groundbreaking first feature, has consistently delivered heartfelt storytelling and memorable new characters, and the sequel looks set to continue that tradition. While details are limited, Pete Docter confirmed Woody and Buzz will return, likely with Tom Hanks and Tim Allen reprising their roles, and new toys are expected to join the adventure. Possible storylines include revisiting Sid as a villain, grappling with his knowledge that toys are alive, following Buzz and Bonnie's crew on a fresh journey, with Woody appearing in a mentor-like role, or weaving together parallel stories that reunite the two groups, showing that Pixar is aiming for more than just nostalgia. Supergirl, June 26, 2026. Supergirl will return to the big screen in her first solo outing since 1984, this time with a darker, more complex story that aims to expand the DC universe beyond its usual heavyweights like Superman and Batman. The film, titled Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, is positioned as both a fresh introduction to the character and a test of how DC can handle lesser-known heroes, alongside upcoming projects like Booster Gold and Swamp Thing. James Gunn has teased that this Supergirl will be very different from past versions, shaped by a traumatic upbringing on a dying Krypton, rather than the nurturing childhood Superman experienced on Earth. That background makes her tougher, more hardened, and potentially more volatile, creating a sharp contrast with her cousin's hopeful persona. By exploring her struggles with trauma, resilience, and adjusting to life on Earth, the movie promises a unique and emotional spin on the superhero formula, challenging audience expectations while carving out a distinct space for Supergirl in the new DC lineup. The Odyssey, July 17, 2026. Christopher Nolan is tackling Greek mythology with The Odyssey, an epic action fantasy based on Homer's classic poem, starring Matt Damon as Odysseus on his perilous journey home from the Trojan War. The film boasts a massive ensemble including Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Lupita Nyong'o, Robert Pattinson, Charlize Theron, Jon Bernthal, Elliot Page, Mia Goth, and John Leguizamo, making it one of Nolan's most star-studded casts yet. With a $250 million budget, his most expensive project so far, filming began in February 2025 across Morocco, Greece, Italy, and the UK, using advanced IMAX technology to capture sweeping landscapes and elaborate sequences featuring the Cyclops, Circe, and the Sirens. The first look at Damon as Odysseus confirmed his lead role after fan speculation around Tom Holland, while the creative team, including costume designer Ellen Moroznik and cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema, promises to deliver a visually stunning, large-scale adaptation. Spider-Man 4, July 31, 2026. Spider-Man 4 is officially moving forward, giving fans another chapter with Tom Holland's Spidey after the massive success of No Way Home, which left the door wide open for more stories. In a big casting update, Stranger Things star Sadie Sink has joined the film in a mystery role, sparking speculation that she could be a major Spider-Man character or even tie into Marvel's larger multiverse plans. Behind the camera, Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton is set to direct, with returning writers Chris McKenna and Eric Summers handling the script. Producer Amy Pascal confirmed that Spider-Man 4 will kick off a whole new trilogy, focusing more on Peter's choice to leave his personal life behind and fully embrace being Spider-Man. Plot details are still under wraps, but rumors range from a grounded street-level story with Kingpin as a major threat, possibly alongside a Daredevil team-up, to a larger multiverse angle involving Venom, the Black Suit, or even Null, who is teased in Venom: The Last Dance. Since the film lands between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, Marvel could use it to connect Spidey's story to upcoming crossover events while still returning him to his street-level roots, giving fans the best of both worlds. Clayface, September 11, 2026. Clayface is the next DCU film after Supergirl, which has been in the works since Mike Flanagan first pitched the idea back in 2023. Flanagan was confirmed to write the project in late 2024, but due to scheduling conflicts he couldn't direct. James Watkins stepped in as director in February 2025, with David Amini polishing the script by May. Casting followed soon after, with Tom Rhys-Harris joining in June as Matt Hagen and Naomi Ackie signing on as the scientist behind his terrifying transformation. Filming kicked off in August 2025, with scenes shot on location in Liverpool and soundstage work at Warner Bros. Studios Levesden. A recently leaked set photo hinted at the version of Clayface we'll see in the DCU, showing a newspaper headline that reads, "Actor Matt Hagen dead," confirming Hagen as the chosen incarnation. However, this take mixes elements from different comic iterations. Instead of being a treasure hunter, Hagen is reimagined as an actor whose disfigurement leads him to a rogue scientist, echoing the origin story popularized in Batman the Animated Series. Resident Evil, September 18, 2026. The Resident Evil franchise is getting a full reboot, this time with a darker, scarier vision that leans into the survival horror roots of the games. Sony is behind the project, but unlike the Paul W.S. Anderson films, this new version will exist in its own continuity. Zach Cregger, the filmmaker behind the 2022 horror hit Barbarian, is directing and co-writing with Shay Hatton, and he's promised a more grounded, terrifying approach. Instead of action spectacle, the story will focus on one central protagonist descending deeper into horror, emphasizing suspense, isolation, and fear. Casting is still in progress, but Austin Abrams is reportedly being considered for a role, hinting that the production is eyeing actors with horror chops. Filming is expected to kick off in September 2025, with more casting news likely before then. Story details are still unknown, but with decades of game lore to pull from, the film could adapt a classic like the first Resident Evil, or even lean into Resident Evil 4 territory. Either way, Cregger has made it clear this reboot will stick to the unsettling atmosphere and tension that made the game so iconic. The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, November 20th, 2026. The Hunger Games saga is expanding with a new prequel that will spotlight Haymitch Abernathy and his role in the 50th Hunger Games, better known as the First Quarter Quell. Set 4 decades before Katniss's story, the film will explore Haymitch's brutal path to victory and possibly shed light on the Capitol's mutts and the fate of Dr. Gall, the twisted genius behind many of the game's horrors. Francis Lawrence is back in the director's chair, with producers Nina Jacobson and Brad Simpson also returning to keep the continuity strong. Casting hasn't been announced yet, but filming is set to begin after March 2025, following the release of the new novel the movie will be based on. With both the book and film on the horizon, fans are eager to see how Haymitch's story deepens the lore of Panem and connects to the larger Hunger Games universe. Greta Gerwig's The Chronicles of Narnia, November 26, 2026. Netflix is officially rebooting The Chronicles of Narnia with Greta Gerwig directing, marking one of the streamer's most ambitious projects to date. Unlike past adaptations, Netflix now controls the rights to all 7 of C.S. Lewis's novels and plans a full slate of films. The rollout will be historic for the platform too, as the first movie is set for Netflix's first ever wide theatrical release on 1,000 IMAX screens, before streaming worldwide on Christmas Day, a clear sign they see blockbuster potential here. Casting is already heating up. Louis Partridge has joined in a mystery role, likely Peter Pevensey, while Emma Mackey is reportedly locked in as the White Witch. Rumors also suggest Daniel Craig and Meryl Streep could join, with Streep eyed as the voice of Aslan. Plot details remain under wraps, but while most assumed the films would begin with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Jason Isaacs has teased that the magician's nephew might kick things off instead, giving audiences a look at Narnia's origins before diving into the Pevensey saga. Avengers Doomsday, December 18, 2026. Avengers Doomsday, the 5th Avengers film, was unveiled at San Diego Comic-Con 2024 with some of the biggest surprises the MCU has seen yet. Originally announced as Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, the movie has been reworked after Marvel shifted away from Kang, and the spotlight now falls on Robert Downey Jr.'s shocking return, not as Iron Man, but as an alternate universe Tony Stark who becomes the villainous Doctor Doom. Downey Jr. even appeared at Comic-Con wearing Doom's mask, fully embracing the twist that flips his most iconic Marvel role on its head. The film brings together a powerhouse cast, uniting Marvel's newly introduced Fantastic Four, Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ebon Moss-Bachrach, with the Thunderbolts team, including Sebastian Stan, Florence Pugh, and David Harbour. On top of that, legendary X-Men stars like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are expected to make appearances, setting up a massive crossover event. While Marvel is keeping the story tightly guarded, the film is rumored to take inspiration from the Ultimate Comics' Doomsday arc, where a multiverse-shattering threat emerges and the heroes discover that the villain is actually a familiar face. With Dr. Doom as the twisted Tony Stark, Avengers Doomsday looks set to push the MCU into its most dramatic and unpredictable chapter yet. Man of Tomorrow, July 9th, 2027. Yes, the next Superman movie is titled Man of Tomorrow. James Gunn returns as writer and director, with David Corenswit reprising his role as Superman Clark Kent and Nicholas Hoult returning as Lex Luthor. The announcement comes after the first Superman movie crossed $600 million globally, marking a major success for the DC Cinematic Universe reboot. Gunn confirmed he's working on the film, emphasizing that it's not a direct sequel. The previous film introduced a broad range of DC characters, including Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, Rick Flag, and Hawkgirl, alongside leads like Rachel Brosnahan, Wendell Pierce, and Skylar Gisondo. Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, December 17th, 2027. The Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum is shaping up as a new two-film Middle-earth story centered on Gollum Schmeagol, exploring his backstory in depth. Andy Serkis, who famously portrayed Gollum in Peter Jackson's original trilogy, will both reprise the role and direct the project. The screenplay is being written by Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, Phoebe Gittins, and Artie Papagiorgio, with Jackson, Walsh, and Boyens producing alongside executive producers Ken Kamins, Serkis, and Jonathan Cavendish. Serkis highlighted how much motion capture technology has improved since the early 2000s, allowing for more nuanced performances outdoors and on location. Boyens emphasized that this film will stand on its own rather than feel like an extension of the previous trilogy. While it's too early to confirm other returning cast members, Serkis noted that everything is still in the early script development phase. The focus on Gollum comes from his complex duality, Smeagol's sympathetic side and Gollum's darker nature, which the filmmakers see as a compelling lens to explore Middle-earth during a period that wasn't deeply covered in the earlier films. The story will not just retell familiar events, but will aim to reveal untold aspects of Gollum's journey and interactions with other characters. Serkis's involvement as both actor and director, combined with the Imaginarium's resources, positions this as a high-profile and technically ambitious addition to the Tolkien universe, expanding the cinematic exploration of Middle-earth beyond the original trilogy and Rings of Power series. And that wraps up our roundup of the most anticipated movies coming in 2026 and 2027. Which of these films are you most excited to see first, and which ones do you think will steal the show at the box office? Drop your thoughts in the comments section down below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because we'll be covering more updates on this soon and other exciting upcoming movies and series. Thank you so much for watching our video today, and we'll see you next time.